everyone, welcome to Budget with Sue. Today I'm going to be talking about sinking funds, the types of sinking funds that I use, how to implement them in your budget, and also I'll be showing you guys a brief overview on how I've set up my sinking funds tracker. So sinking funds essentially are short or long-term saving goals that you save for incrementally. For example, Mother's Day that just passed by, if you know that every year you do something special for the mother in your life for Mother's Day, then you can start saving a year in advance. So when the day comes, you don't have to break your budget or put anything on a card. You have the money set aside for that intended spending. So the first type of sinking fund is a recurrent sinking fund, which happens at regular intervals that you are aware of. This can be any kind of event or holiday like Christmas, New Year's, Chinese New Year, Deepavali, Hari Raya, things like that. Or it can even be a bill or a payment that is due at certain times in a year, maybe twice a year, 3 times a year, or maybe even something like car insurance or road tax that is due once a year, so you save up for that, or any kind of subscription that comes up at a set interval. For example, I have Disney Plus, so that comes out every 3 months. The next kind of sinking fund is a one-off sinking fund, which could either be a short-term one-off sinking fund or a long-term one-off sinking fund. So something like that may be something specific that is coming up soon, say a holiday that you're planning to go for, or event like a wedding, for example. The longer term example of that would be maybe something like saving for a down payment for a car or a house. So for these two kinds of sinking funds, what's important for you to figure out is the amount that you want to save, so your goal amount, and also the time frame that you have to save it in. So the shorter the time frame, the more you would have to put aside every month, as well as if it's a larger goal amount. So how you would decide how much to put aside every month for these sinking funds would be you take your total goal amount and you divide that by the number of months you have till you have to pay for that event. Say you have a goal of 1,200 ringgit and you have 1 year to save this by. So what you do is you take 1,200 ringgit divided by 12 months, and that equals to 100 ringgit a month. The third type of sinking fund, it is a continuous sinking fund. So it's something that does not have like an end goal date, like a one-off sinking fund, nor is it something that happens at a specific set time, like a recurrent sinking fund. So for me, I use things like clothes, accessories, makeup, skincare products, things like that as part of my continuous sinking funds. So I have an arbitrary goal for that, and I set aside money when I can for that, and when I need to use it, I dip into that sinking fund. So how you can start using sinking funds in your budget would be to identify areas of spending that fit into these kind of sinking fund categories. So something that happens every month, every year, for example, that you know that you have to spend for, and you would like to save money aside for it in order to not have to eat into your expensive spending for that month, for example. You could set up as a recurrent sinking fund. Or if you know you have a holiday planned at the end of the year, you can start saving up for that now, and so by the time that it comes around, or you have to spend for things like the ticket or accommodation or things like that, you have money set aside and you don't have to dip into savings and things like that. Now I'd like to show you guys how I've set up my sinking funds tracker on Google Sheets. Okay everyone, so this is my sinking funds tracker, and how I've set it up is there is starting, which is what I start the year in, because I have a different tab for every year. So I've been doing this since 2018. So I just have a column here for all the categories of my sinking funds. I have 19, if I'm not mistaken. That may be way too many for some people, and it may not be enough for others. So again, the customizability of sinking funds is entirely up to you, and as long as it suits your needs, and you feel you would benefit from that sinking fund, then you can set it up. So again, what I have is the starting column, and I've hidden the previous month, so January to April, and I've hidden the rest of the year as well. So I'll just show you May's one, which is the month we're currently in. So for May, I just have inputted how much I have put for each sinking fund, how much I have allocated, which is in this column, and then how much I have spent, which is in this column. So the reason I've spent 300 in stationery and 290 in entertainment is because I've taken some money out of these sinking funds, which are the ones that I use the least, and I've utilized them for an extra debt payment. So the next column here is goal, and this is just how much I am anticipating to spend for each category of sinking funds. So things like stationery, potluck contributions, entertainment, these are all examples of sinking funds for me that are the continuous type that I will dip into when I need to and then replenish as needed as well. Things like my subscriptions, yearly subscriptions, these are an example of recurrent sinking fund, as well as Christmas, my car insurance, which I just paid for in April, which is why I spent a little bit more than I anticipated, but I'm still keeping the goal at 100 ringgit a month because I feel by next year I should be able to more than make up for this little deficit that I have here right now. And since today is Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to all mothers. So that could be another sinking fund. For me personally, I put that under gifts. So Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, anniversaries, all of this fall under gifts for me. So then whatever I spend for Mother's Day, I will put in here. And for sinking funds that are a bit more on the one-off side, I've got travels here. Again, like I mentioned, I've got concrete plans, but I've put it there because I do anticipate in the next year or two that I would be needing some money to go somewhere. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to jinx it yet. So that would be an example of a one-off sinking fund. Although maybe if you're more of an avid traveler, it could be something that is seen as more of a continuous sinking fund, or even recurrent if you have plans to travel at least twice in a single year, then it would be considered a recurrent sinking fund for you. So again, even the types of sinking funds are not fixed. It really, again, depends on your budget and your lifestyle as well. So for me, these goals come from my previous spending, or it's an arbitrary amount that I feel is appropriate to spend on certain categories. Maybe once I have, say for example, a concrete plan to travel, then I'll be able to know more how much it would cost to travel there, for flights, accommodations, things like that, and then I would adjust this goal amount. But the premise is again simple, the goal amount, and then divide by the number of months you have to save for it. Those are for one-off and recurrent sinking funds. For the replenishing one, I just have a fixed goal of it's between 300 to 500 for most of them, and when I dip into it, I just replenish when needed. So I also have here a total saved column, which is how much I've saved throughout the year, and a total spent column. This is just for my own knowledge. I just want to see how much I have spent in each category, and this will help inform me if maybe I need to change my goals. For example, the amount I've set aside for a goal. If say I am continuously spending way more than the goal I've put for, say, toiletries, for example. So this column is for balance. This is actually how much I have left in each category of my sinking funds. I put all my sinking funds into one bank account, and so this actually helps me track how much I have for each category, because because I don't have separate bank accounts for each, because there's a lot. It really would it would really be so impractical for me to have 19 bank accounts, and I don't have an account where you can have separate pots within that savings account, within that one account. So that's why this tracker is invaluable to me. And it also, so this negative amount here, it's being floated by the money that I have for the rest of the things that I don't need to dip into right now. This is the remainder towards the goal amount. So for example, I have a goal of 500 for personal development, and I have 192 ringgit and 15 cents left to reach that goal. And this is just a visual progress bar, so I know how far along I am, and I just have another one for percentages just to see it a bit more clearer. So that is just a short introduction into sinking funds and how to utilize them in your budget, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!